Watch this. Quiet. I'll say it. Ow. Hey guys, welcome back. What? That's not my thing! That's my fucking Twitch channel intro. Never mind. I meant to say was, welcome to the next episode of Hot Takes Unleashed. This is what happens.
You done fucked up, Ron?
I did, Balake. As you saw in the title, we are talking about serial killer psychology and true crime. I'm going to be covering the true crime. Sandra's going to have the serial killer psychology, because it's what she likes to read about.
I have issues, okay?
Not
those kind of issues.
She don't want to kill nobody. She don't want to be a serial killer.
I can't handle...
Maybe for Cinnamon Toast Crunch, but...
I don't have the stomach the way these people do. No. I almost passed out at the sight of blood, so... if I'm being honest. Here's a reason why I'm not in the medical field.
You calling me out?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. So I think we should start off with the serial killer psychology, because I'm kind of intrigued with it a little bit.
Okay, well, one of the first serial killers I picked was Ed Gein. Some of you may know... I can't speak right now.
May known him. May known him.
He was known back then for cutting women's parts off their body, like their skin and other parts, and
Yummy.
Putting together stuff for him to like wear. Quote me if I'm wrong, or he made another like body out of it. I can't remember exactly when I watched.
Like a puppet almost out of.
I think so.
Body parts.
Like watching this series, like he made something out of that stuff and like pretended it was his mother. Because his dad, I can't remember if when he was younger his dad passed away, but his mom was a really big religious freak.
Okay.
And she kind of like kept him to himself or herself. Like that was, like, you know, those kind of relationships,
mm-hmm.
You know, like he was so attached to his mother that she was so religious she didn't want him being with any other woman. He wasn't allowed to sleep with women. He wasn't allowed to do anything but take care of his mother. And even after his mother passed away, that's when, like, stuff, I think, started really happening, because after his mother's death, I think it got to him, because he was alone. Because I think he had an older brother. I don't remember if he was known for killing his other brother, or if his brother was killed by an accident, because they did farming. Because that was back in the... He was born, I think, in 19...
That would be easy to cover up stuff, too.
He was born in 1906. So, he was around the era of, like, when kids were little, they had to help with the farming and stuff back then. But, some of the facts that I looked up was, there was, like, when he got caught... Eventually, the police actually discovered chairs that were covered in human skin, skulls on bedposts, bowls made from skulls, a belt made from female nipples, a lampshade made from a human face.
Oh.
He was convicted of murdering a Bernice Warden in 1957 and confessed to killing a Mary Hogan in 1954. But the weird part about Ed Gein, that kind of really, like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I don't know how or where he got the idea. He went and he dug up graves. Dead people already. Because he was lonely. And he would even, like, before I think actually killing, like, other women, I think that's how he started. He went to graves. And he dug up dead people and used, like, because I think it was, like, freshly dead people that he would try to find.
Oh.
And like, females, and cut up their skin and body parts and stuff like that.
Did anybody, like, ever find out about that before?
I don't think so. I don't think anyone had suspicion, because I don't know if he, like...
I didn't notice, you know.
It was back in the early 1900s, so I don't know how that...
Yes, it probably wasn't... what's the person called that guards the cemeteries?
I don't remember. There's a name for it. I just don't remember what it's called.
Let me look it up.
But no, I think Ed Gein was a little... I don't know, was it earlier in the 1900s, and it's just... Like I said, I think he had, like, a whole lot of mental issues, because they discovered that he was also schizophrenic. And so when he was put on trial, he was still found guilty of first-degree murder, but they also found him legally insane because they tested him and he was schizophrenic.
So they're called cemetery keeper, caretaker, or sexton.
Unless they didn't have that back then. Like I said, this was in the early 1900s, so, like, I'm sure, like, in the 1920s, 30s, when he started doing this.
In America?
Yes, in America. I think... Where was it? It was Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. You ever been to Wisconsin?
I was thinking Wisconsin, but I just wanted to make sure. Yes, it was Wisconsin. And apparently he was arrested in 1957 after he confessed to the 2 murders. But then he spent the rest of his life in a mental institution.
Wait, hold on. Speaking of Wisconsin.
Ever been to Wisconsin?
What?
Some of the coldest.
Sorry.
Yeah, oh, supposedly, yes, his father was an alcoholic father. And like I said, his mom was a very religious and abusive, who taught that all women except her were evil. Yeah, so like that kind of mother-son relationship, like that's all, like her son is her son, nobody else's.
Mm-hmm. So what my ex's moms were.
But the funny thing is, like, no one suspected a thing, because even neighbors considered him, like, very quiet, polite, very nice, didn't even expect anything. Yeah, and I think, was it the movie The Texas Chainsaw Massacre was, I think, it was, I don't think they directly said it was because of him, but
It was implied.
It was implied that, I don't know if you've seen The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original movie. You remember, like, how the skin and all that shit? Yeah, I think that's what they were implying, even though they weren't saying it was directly Ed Gein. Which I kind of feel, like, I don't feel bad for Ed Gein, because, I mean, you know, he was a murderer.
Yeah.
But the dude had mental issues, and he didn't even know what he was doing. Because if I watched correctly in the series, he couldn't even remember some of the things he's done. Because that's how bad his schizophrenia was. Like, when he would get confronted about things, he was like, I didn't do that. I don't remember doing that.
Yeah, schizophrenia is kind of something scary to deal with.
Right. But, eventually, I think they said he died at age 77 from respiratory issues inside a mental institution. But yeah, I don't know how can you dig up dead bodies?
Yeah.
That's the one thing. I guess he didn't he still murdered people, but I mean, it was only 2 women I think he murdered that he confessed to that we know of. But
True.
at the same time, he dug up dead bodies, so I guess in a way he didn't murder too many people. He just dug up and mutilated freshly dead bodies.
Yeah. Which I'm sure back then that probably wasn't even a crime. Because now it is.
Oh yeah, 100%. But yeah, no, that Gein was kind of a weird guy. He was, even though he was nice and polite, he was. You never know. You never know when somebody can be a serial killer, and that's the. Especially with the technology we have nowadays, compared back into like those days.
Yeah.
In the 80s and 90s.
I'm a serial killer. I fuck up some Rice Krispies now and then.
Oh boy.
Alright.
Well,
who's your next killer?
Enough about Ed Gein. On to the next one of the most famous serial killers of, I want to say what, the 80s and 90s? I want to say 80s.
I think so.
Mr. Jeffrey Dahmer. Yes, the dude that eats organs. Nasty fuck. He had some issues too. I know he grew up in a very shitty home. His parents fought a lot. I think his mama had some schizophrenia or bipolar issues.
Was she an alcoholic?
I don't think so.
Or was that like heavy drinking after she found out what he was doing?
I don't remember. Because I know, like, when they were younger, she had a lot of, like, depression, and I think she was bipolar. Don't know about schizophrenia. I want to say she did. But at the same time, I don't think it was severe as the depression and bipolar. Because I knew she had to take medication and go to the doctors a lot. And I think there was times where she tried to herself.
Hashtag trauma.
When she was, or when Jeffrey was younger.
Hashtag trauma.
But eventually, like, the parents... Hashtag trauma! Okay. But the parents argued so much where they got divorced.
Yeah.
But I think he was in high school when they got divorced. And I think he had a younger brother, because I think he was the oldest. Yeah, I think he had a younger brother. And I can't remember his younger brother's name, but he did have another sibling. And I think he was 17, 18, because I think I don't know if he got kicked out of school or dropped out of school, because he wasn't doing very well in school. But I remember Jeffrey Dahmer was the alcoholic, because he did a lot of...
Okay,
he was a big drinker, is what he was. And I don't think he realized he was gay until he got older. Because he was into men. And I don't think it worked out with females. Like, he wasn't sexually attracted to them when he was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I know how he got into, like, cutting into stuff when he was young. Because you know how with serial killers, like, dead animals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, or killing animals or something. I know his dad had a sport that they do called taxidermy. And Jeffrey was always so interested in doing it with his dad. And I think that's where he first, like, got into, like, slicing and dicing and all that stuff.
Feeling the urge.
Yeah, I think, because after that he would get, like, excited doing it. And I know the mom was, like, really against it because she blames the dad for getting him into taxidermy for the reason why he was the way that he was. Like, the parents, even after his death, continued to argue all the time. They just did not get along. Like, so I could see why Jeffrey and his brother had a lot of like trauma growing up as kids. I know his dad eventually remarried and was married. I can't remember her name, but Jeffrey had a stepmom, and I don't know if he liked the thought of that, but I don't think he like minded it at the same time. I know at some point his mom kind of like left him alone. Like, I think this is how his first murder started. I can't remember if he was 17, 18, 19, somewhere around there. And I think he was left home alone, because I think he was still in high school, because he wasn't supposed to be left home alone since he was still underage. I think the mom like just left and moved somewhere else, and I think he was living with his mom or living with his dad. I don't remember. He got to pick which one to live with, and I think it was the mom. And correct me if I'm wrong. I remember something like that. And then there was one day he was out, and I think he was drinking, and he picked up a hitchhiker. I think that was his first victim. I don't know if it was actually a hitchhiker or if somebody was on their way to
I think it was
a concert, or it was a hitchhiker. I don't remember. And I remember he tried doing things with the guy, and I don't think the guy swung that way. And he was trying to leave, and I don't think Jeffrey liked that. I can't remember exactly how he killed him. I don't know if he swung him with something or knocked him out. But I knew eventually, like, with more the killings went, he would drug his victims. I know he would, as he got, I think after, like, some of these issues, like, because I don't think anybody knew, I don't know what he did with the hitchhiker's body. I don't remember, but he got rid of it and hid it.
Yeah, didn't he bury it?
Yeah, I think he buried it.
Because when they were doing the investigation, they found the bones.
Yes, skeleton. I think so. And then I know eventually they sent him off to military school, like his dad did, because his dad got sick of his shit, of him not behaving and his drinking. And I think Jeffrey was caught, I think, sexually assaulting people there. And so I think he was kicked out or dropped out. He didn't want to be part of the military, so he failed that. And I know eventually he was able to get a job. I don't remember where, but like after his job, he would go out to gay bars, and I think that's when he would pick out his victims, because eventually he would bring them back to their apartment and he would drug them. And that's when, I think he started some of them, like, cutting them open and putting, like, their heart or their organs in the fridge or freezer to cook and eat them. Like, he would actually eat them. And, I mean, he had neighbors that would complain about the smells. Police never took it seriously. Not even the landlord. They're like, even the landlord just came over and was like, oh, hey, just take care of the smell. People are complaining. That was it.
Yeah, I'm sure at that time, like, people just thought, like, oh, maybe there's, like, rotten food or something in the apartment. Or, like, the apartment's a mess.
Because, yeah, a lot of people were complaining of the smell.
Yeah. Because I'm sure back then, like, people didn't think that anybody was capable of doing that.
No, and he would actually take Polaroid pictures and save them, I think, in his dresser drawer or something. But there was, like, I know at one time he tried this on 2 people he killed. He thought that if he drugged them and he could drill a hole into their head.
Hey, hold on.
What?
You said that he took pictures?
Relax. Takes with pictures.
Oh my god!
Sorry.
Yeah, I give props to the actor. What's his name? Evan Peters?
Yeah, he's
He
traumatized from that, though.
Yeah, he played him so well. Props to him. He looked like him. He did everything.
And he's so
I don't blame
from
that. I don't blame him. I would be traumatized too if I did that.
Like, a lot of people did, like, comparing from, like, movies and shows and whatever from before. And then as soon as he did Dahmer, I guess his whole demeanor changed and he wasn't as smiley and everything. I think he even said, too, like, it traumatized him. Like, it kind of changed his whole perspective on everything.
Like, yeah, it would be understandable, too. I do know, too, with Jeffrey Dahmer, there is 2 victims that he tried drilling a hole in because he wanted real-life zombies. See if he could make real-life zombies. I don't know where he got that idea.
And how that would work.
I don't know. I think the first person he tried that on, like, they started waking up, and I think they just didn't make it, like, after a while. And I knew there was this, like, what was it? Jeffrey, I think, was on probation, too, because there was this one kid that he tried luring in and tried sexually assaulting or sexually assaulted. And he was able to get away and report it. And I think he got put on probation or whatever for it because he had, what is that called? Like, from the judge where you're able just to go to work and come back home. I think he had to, like, he could only go out certain times, or I don't know if he had an ankle monitor on him or not. I don't remember. But I know he was on probation for something like that. And the fucked up part was the next victim that had their hole drilled into their head was that little kid's brother.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and eventually the little kid, apparently he went out to go buy more alcohol, and the kid woke up completely naked, not knowing what the hell was going on, and he came out of the apartment. And I remember there was a few women that noticed that and called the police to report it. But then Jeffrey Dahmer played it as, oh, he was my boyfriend. He's a little drunk. And the police actually brought him back in and believed him. And I think there was one last guy that he tried to murder but got away, was that he lured him in because he had met him at a gay bar, I think. And he brought him back to the apartment and they started doing stuff. And eventually he handcuffed that guy, and the guy was like, what the fuck? And I don't remember exactly what else happened, but the guy was able to, like, I think he panicked because he kept asking Jeffrey Dahmer, oh, can I use your bathroom? I think he was trying to escape, but in the bathroom there was no window because of the type of apartment it was in. So he was panicking. And finally, like, when Dahmer wasn't paying attention, I think the second or third time he came out of the bathroom, like, he just punched him, knocked him out, and took out running out of the apartment, screaming for cops. At first, the cops didn't believe him. And then I think eventually when they brought the guy back, because they brought the guy back to him, I don't know why the cops were so stupid. But eventually, like, the cops noticed, like, I don't know if they noticed a smell or if they noticed some weird shit, because they even went and looked in the bedroom. And one of the cops discovered the Polaroids. They discovered, I think, a dead body in there or something. Yeah. Yeah, it was, the cop looked at Dahmer and was like, you're getting arrested. Because I think he realized after, because the cop was looking for the key to uncuff the person. And I think when he pulled out the drawer, he saw the Polaroids. And that's when he realized, oh, this dude is kind of a fucking murderer. So yeah, I don't think Dahmer made it out after that. Because, I think, what was it, after he got sent to prison, I don't think he was there for long.
No.
Because someone found out what he did.
He was like making jokes in jail too, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was trying to...
He got shanked in the neck too.
Yeah, he was trying to be a hot shot, like he didn't do anything wrong, and I think it pissed off somebody to where they just murdered him. What was it with the weight? Was it? Yeah, and it was when they were left alone cleaning. I think a security guard walked away, and the guy got a hold of Dahmer and just brutally
said he was doing God's work.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm not religious.
Interesting way to put it, but
I'm not religious, but Jeffrey Dahmer kind of deserved what was coming to him. Not gonna lie. I mean, after the amount of men he killed.
Well, it's like also if he got out, I feel like he'd probably do it again. Because they didn't exactly offer him help in jail.
No, but another thing too that they found, that Jeffrey Dahmer would put the bodies in like acid. Like actual acid. I don't know how he got a hold of like gallons of acid.
I think it had something to do with what him and his dad would do.
Yeah, and he would put the bodies and like destroy some of the bones or some of the skin or... And at one point too, he lived with his grandma. And his grandma almost had suspicion because he would bring men... When he lived with his grandma, he would bring men and he would murder them, I think, inside his grandma's house in the basement or something. And she could smell something, but she didn't... I know there was times where she got suspicious of like, oh, what's going on? And I think he panicked, and so eventually she was like, oh, you have to move out. Because she wanted nothing to do with him after that. But Grandma was really close. Catching him really close. Poor Grandma. She didn't quite get there.
Well.
Yeah, I'm actually curious to see how many men he murdered. I'm gonna look at it. It has to be like over 20, 30 something, I think it was. Murdered 17 men and boys between 78 and 91. Apparently he was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms, but killed by a fellow inmate in 94. So it was 94 that he was killed. But yeah. And he actually attacked more men of color. I think he was more interested in colored men. Oh, yeah, his first victim was Stephen Hicks, picked up by hitchhiking. I was right. Was it hitchhiking? After it was just 3 weeks after Dahmer graduated high school. Oh, I thought he dropped out. Or never mind. I was wrong on that one.
I guess I don't remember him graduating.
I don't remember either, because I knew he wasn't doing too hot in school.
That's also like a small detail compared to everything that he did.
Yeah, apparently he was pleaded guilty by reason of insanity, but jury found him sane.
Interesting.
But he was sentenced to 15 life terms, later adding a 16, total of 957 years. I mean, I don't think anyone's gonna live.
Like, why don't you just say life in prison then?
I never understand that either. But he was also known as the Milwaukee Monster. That was his famous...
Wisconsin? You ever been to Wisconsin?
Apparently there's a lot of murderers in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
There's Ed Gein. I didn't even realize that. When I picked those two, I didn't even realize... I forgot that Ed Gein was in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin? You ever been to Wisconsin? Anybody watching this on YouTube, you've just been watching me get blinded this whole time. Tizote. So, moving on from serial killers, from people who've killed multiple people, killed murderer people. Nice.
I mean, they deserve to be murdered.
So, I guess I didn't even tell you the two cases that I'll be doing. So, two cases that I'm pretty, intrigued about is Gypsy Rose case, and the Menendez brothers case.
Oh, the Menendez brothers. I thought you were going to say Casey Anthony. I'm not going to lie.
No. I was going to do Selena.
Ooh.
Which I'm very in depth on that one. But Let's just
What was the lady's name that killed Selena again?
Yolanda Salazar.
Yolanda. Fuck you, Lavon. Yolanda. Fuck you, Yolanda.
Figure it out!
Tongue twister. Okay. But anyways, fuck Yolanda.
I'll start with the Menendez brothers, okay?
Yeah.
Because they're ones that I actually stand. I think they should have gotten out over Gypsy Rose. Okay?
I've heard some things about them, but not quite. I don't think I've done a whole lot of research on the Menendez brothers.
Also, Eric, hot as shit. Sorry, Alex.
Okay.
Mama, I'm in love with a criminal. Anyway. But they should have definitely gotten out before Gypsy Rose.
I heard they got fucked.
You're gonna hate that you just said that.
What?
Because the reason they killed their parents is because they were trying to get out of their sexual abuse.
Oh god, Mubby.
She didn't know it was okay. But
see, like I said, I haven't done a lot of research on that.
But they were sexually abused, which, you know, a lot of people didn't believe back then because they're guys.
What, they were in the 80s, right? When they were sexually
90s.
abused? 90s? Thought it was the 80s.
Oh, well, no, they got arrested in the 90s. They murdered their parents in 1989. So I guess
Okay, so 80s.
late 80s, early 90s. Also, the fact they got away from it for almost 10 years is crazy.
Oh shit, really?
They got arrested in 1996. And they killed their parents in 1989. So almost 10 years. Yeah. But, so I guess a little backstory. The abuse started with, you know, their dad going to Lyle. Lyle was the oldest one. And, well then, it seemed like it was kind of engraved in Lyle's head, like, oh, this is the okay behavior to do, so then he would start doing it to Eric. Then his dad would start going to Eric, and Lyle got protective over Eric. You know, younger brother, gonna protect younger brother. And, well then eventually, their dad started doing it to both boys. Their mother knew about it. And just didn't say anything. A lot of family members knew about it too, didn't do anything about it. There was a couple family members, and one specifically, I think it was a female cousin, was supposed to spend the weekend or week, I believe, at their house. Kind of got a gist of what was happening and left early because she felt too uncomfortable. She did a whole interview and everything. So a lot of family members knew about it. There was also one that they interviewed, I can't remember if it was during the court case or after the court case, who witnessed the abuse and sexual abuse going on in that house. But they also didn't talk about the sexual abuse in court right away. They kind of waited, like, towards the end, like, before the whole, before the ruling.
Oh.
But, of course, back then, you know, they didn't think, oh, like, it can actually happen to a guy. Sexual abuse can actually happen to a guy. Which, so both boys had two different lawyers. Love Eric's lawyer. She made a good point. She said, I don't know the quote word for word, but she said to the jury, would it change the fact if Eric was a girl named Erica and they had sexual abuse happen to them? She made a valid point.
Yeah, that's...
Because a lot of stuff with that general topic is so different for guys and girls.
So it makes me wonder, like, what caused their dad to just, like, sexually abuse them? Like, why in the right mind would you want to do that to your own kid? Why think about that?
Yeah.
That's just fucked up. If you're going to have those thoughts, don't have children.
Yeah.
Don't.
So, starting with the crime, I'm just going to read a couple things to you guys. So the crime was 1989, as we said. Lyle, who was 21, and Eric, who was 18, so they were both tried as adults. They shot their parents in their home. Their parents are Jose and Kitty Menendez. They shot them multiple times and then claimed that they just found them. So, they kind of staged this whole, like, alibi thing, okay? So they shot their parents, they went out, they bought shotguns, and their whole thing during the case was you went back and you reloaded the shotgun. That was their whole worry about the whole fucking case, which pissed me off. But they shot their parents in the living room. They went out to a movie and a couple other places, so they had an alibi. And then they came home, claiming that they found their parents dead and shot. Don't know who did it. I don't remember which one called the 911, claiming that they found their parents, and the other was, like, hysterically, like, screaming and crying and everything in the background. So, essentially just faking it, trying to get out of it. Which a lot of people believed for the longest time, until they started digging. So, more reading. Lyle and Eric Menendez, convicted in 1996 for the 1989 murders of their parents in Beverly Hills, are currently serving life sentences after being denied parole in August 2025, which was bullshit. They should have gotten out. For what? So they were also at the same jail when they first were convicted, and then they got separated. But now they're back in the same jail, thankfully. Also, damn, that's great.
Why did they get separated?
You know, I don't really know. I don't know if it was just because they didn't want them to, like, plot anything, or...
But then they put them back together.
Yeah, years and years later.
That makes sense.
Yep. So, obviously, I said that they were arguing that their killings were self-defense due to severe abuse. Prosecutors decided that that wasn't true. They decided that it was for greed for inheritance. Yep. Because they were, obviously rich.
Oh.
Yeah. Pretty rich. But, so, both Menendez brothers testified that they suffered years of physical and sexual abuse by their father, arguing that they acted in fear for their lives. Now, if you watch clips of the whole court thing, when each brother is up there, you can't fake that emotion that they had. I'll show you a clip. But they were just absolutely, like, bawling their eyes out. Like, Eric was damn near on the verge of a panic attack talking about it. Like, you can't fake that emotion.
No.
Talking abuse.
Did you do something to your brother?
Yes.
What did you do to your brother?
I took him out to the woods. Whenever I felt, I don't know, I took him out sometimes, and I took a toothbrush also, and I played with Eric in the same way. And I'm sorry.
So he sexually abused his brother?
Yeah, because it's like his dad just engraved it in his head, like, it's okay to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's weird how, like, habits of like that pass on to the children.
Mm-hmm. So, the first jury, or the first trial was a hung jury. They had a new trial. So the second trial in 1995 saw them convicted of first-degree murder, and they were sentenced to life without parole in 1996. They were resentenced in May 2025 to 50 years to life under California law, making them immediately eligible for parole. I don't know when they can go back and try to do parole again. Their family is very much trying to get them out.
I've heard things like that where they've had family members now, yeah.
Yep.
Really helping them out.
So, I guess another key person in this story, they wouldn't have gotten caught if it wasn't for the therapist, okay? So, Eric was having, these dream visions, of, killing their parents. And so he went to their therapist. I don't know if it was just his therapist or a family therapist. His name is Dr. Oziel. He felt comfortable one day telling him what happened. They went out of the office, they went for a walk in the park, and Eric leaned up against something and told Oziel, "We did it. We killed our parents." From then on, Dr. Oziel started recording their sessions, and they would talk about it, and they would talk about it, and they would talk about it. Oziel's, let's say, complicated lover at the time was told about the tapes, and I don't remember what caused it, but she went behind his back and told the cops about the tapes. So then the brothers got caught because they had a warrant to go and get the tapes, review them, listen to them.
So the therapist was almost not
Wasn't gonna say anything.
Oh.
Yep. So when that day that Eric told Oziel, we did it, Oziel thought it was a good idea. Let's bring Lyle in, let's talk about it. Now Lyle comes in and he's crazy. We didn't do it, blah, blah, blah. Eventually it did come out, they did do it. But because said tapes were made and the cops were told about it, is what got them caught.
Yeah, because they confessed on tape.
So how they arrested Lyle, I think he was leaving their house. He was somewhere in his car, and they kind of barricaded him and took him, brought him to jail. Eric was all the way across the country in Europe for a tennis match, and he was originally going to run. I think he went somewhere after Europe, he didn't go home, and then he finally came back, turned himself in, so then they were both arrested. So, gonna give you guys some key points. So, August 20th, 1989, Lyle and Eric Menendez shoot their parents, Jose and Kitty, in their Beverly Hills mansion. March 8th through 10th, 1990, Lyle and Eric are arrested after recordings of their confessions to a psychologist. Sorry, thought I was a therapist. Same thing, I feel like. Yeah, a little bit. Psychologist is a little more in-depth. Dr. Jerome Oziel are revealed. July 20th, 1993, the first trial begins, broadcast on Court TV, featuring shocking testimony regarding the brothers' claims of long-term sexual abuse. January 1994, 2 juries failed to reach a verdict, leading to a mistrial. October 1995, the retrial begins with restricted evidence regarding the abuse allegations. March 20th of 1996, both brothers are convicted of first-degree murder. July 2nd of 1996, the brothers are sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Come to 2023-2024, new evidence leads to petitions for a new hearing and a review of the case by Los Angeles District Attorney. Yes. So, it was yeah.
It was kind of a messed up situation. I mean, I'm sure there's other ways they could have handled that, but at the same time, not saying I understand why they did what they did,
right.
But at the same time, people think that that's the only way to get out of those things is by killing. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and why the prosecution kind of claimed the the greed of inheritance thing is because after they killed their parents, they kind of went on a shopping spree with the life insurance money that they got.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people that do that.
$700,000. on luxury cars and all that shit. So it's like...
I get that, but there's a lot of people that do that and still don't get caught with life insurance.
Oh, I know.
So.
But I do firmly believe it's because those tapes came out.
Well, then it wasn't actually the psychiatrist. It was whoever he was with.
True. I don't remember her name, but she's not important.
Fuck that bitch.
This damn car. I'm like sitting all the way down here to try and not get blinded. So another case that's kind of similar is the Gypsy Rose Blanchard case. Now, a lot of people compare the Menendez case to Gypsy's case because both killing parents, because Gypsy's dad was in the picture. Now, I will say it, I used to be a Gypsy stan. I used to think, yes, she should be released from jail. Until I started digging into this case.
Oh, I could have told you right off the bat. I knew there was something wrong with her.
Also, when I first found the case, I was 15. So you get older and you dig more, you find more, you know where to find more.
I did a lot of digging on a lot of stuff when I was younger.
Was your
A
drink?
lot of serial killers and all that shit. I had problems.
Was your drink good?
Yes, it was good. It's gone now.
Mine's not even.
Anyways.
So, I don't agree with her getting out and Nick not getting out. Nicholas, go to jail. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, in a way, Nick shouldn't be released.
But neither should have she.
But at the same time, I feel like he could at least be trusted to be let out with an ankle monitor. Because yes, he did follow through. He did kill Dee Blanchard.
Didn't he have some,
He had some mental problems,
issues? Yeah.
which Gypsy knew, and he took advantage of
yeah.
it. So, yeah. So Gypsy is a victim of Munchausen by proxy. Let me look up that definition for you guys. I guess I should have done that. Munch.
I can tell you basically it means that the parent medically makes the child believe that there's medically something wrong with them because they want to take care of them all the time.
Yes.
I guess that's a summary of what
So,
definition is.
Munchausen by proxy is a mental health condition and a serious form of child abuse, now formally termed, no fucking clue how to say that, in which a caregiver fabricates, exaggerates, or induces physical and psychological illness in a person under their care. This behavior is typically driven by the caregiver's need for attention, sympathy, or validation rather than a desire for tangible gain like money or insurance. So,
I guess you can say that even Ed Gein could have had Munchausen by proxy in a way because not like medical issues or illnesses, but his mom.
yeah.
I feel like that happens more often than we think with Munchausen by proxy because I've heard it's becoming a lot more popular.
Popular. You're gonna be popular.
Especially in our age.
Sorry. I've yet to see Wicked, and yet I sing the songs from there all the time. Have you seen Wicked? Second one?
No.
Okay.
I've only seen the first one.
Haven't seen either, so... You're winning.
The girls like the Wicked.
Excuse me! So, a little bit about the abuse. Dee Dee, who's also Claudine Blanchard, suffered from Munchausen by proxy, a mental illness where a caregiver fabricates or induces illness in a child for attention. Gypsy was forced to use a wheelchair, feed through a tube, and had her head shaved to stimulate?
She had cancer or
Simulate.
something.
Yeah, to simulate cancer. Despite being able to walk and eat normally. Now, her mom wouldn't let her walk anywhere, not even outside or anything. But then there's those home videos she used to send Nick that have come out since she got out of jail. And she's walking around outside. She's not in her wheelchair.
I remember they built like a whole like ramp.
A ramp, yeah.
For her. Like they built a brand new house, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Pink
for
house.
them? Yeah. You know, a ramp so that she can get in with wheelchair accessibility.
Yep. So, the murder, okay? Feeling trapped and abused, Gypsy, then 23, though often told she was younger, her mom kept changing her birth year every time they were out, and her online boyfriend, Nicholas Godejohn, planned their murder. Godejohn stabbed Dee Dee in her Missouri home in June 2015 while Gypsy waited in another room. Now, there was one time I dug way too deep, and I found the crime photos from that absolutely horrific. Like, it looks so
I've done
bad.
that with serial killers, like I said, with Jeffrey Dahmer. I've seen some photos, and
Yeah, like,
they nasty when they get... I don't...
Although, like, I don't agree with them killing Dee Dee. I do know at that point her health was getting bad, so it kind of set her free a little bit.
I felt like she should have just ran away if she put stuff together.
Exactly. Because with her mom sleeping, you could have just made a plan to run away. Run away with Nicholas Godejohn.
Mm-hmm.
Not ask his
they
alter ego, Victor, to kill her mother.
Like, they ran away after they murdered her, didn't they? Like, they ran away to somewhere before eventually getting caught.
Yep.
Because then she posted on Facebook, too, didn't she?
Yes. I will insert that here on YouTube somewhere. Yes. It's even in the Hulu series about them posting the Facebook thing.
Which is still up, by the way.
It is still up. It says that bitch is dead. So, actually, now that you mentioned that, I'm going to read some of the comments on there because I wasn't even going to bring that up because I totally blanked on that. But
Oh, I remember that. I don't remember. I haven't watched the documentary, but I've seen things like videos online and some facts about.
So, this is her profile, inserting on screen. It'll say, remembering Gypsy Blanchard. June 14th of 2015, that bitch is dead. Now, a lot of the comments are, ooh. First one, what? Did your Facebook get hacked? I've never heard you talk like that. Someone else goes, sounds like y'all are watching a movie. Then everybody else is saying, that's not deep, what's wrong? I'll call the neighbors. Calling the police now. Like, it's just something that she never would say. Which isn't so funny because I'm, like, looking at these people. Now that, like, Facebook's talking to these other people. One of them posted 8 hours ago. It's weird to... Yes?
8 hours ago? This take place 11 years ago. Like, what the fuck? Who's got time to go back? And... Okay.
Oh, somebody stole a vehicle in Grand Forks.
Okay.
Sorry, that was so not on topic. So, the sentencing,
Gypsy.
pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and sentenced to 10 years in prison in 2016. Nicholas Godejohn was sentenced to life in prison without parole. I think she should have gotten longer. During the whole interrogation, which you can find videos on YouTube, TikTok, anything that you can look up videos on, in the room, in the interrogation room, she's blaming Nick. And she's claiming, like, oh, I didn't know he was going to kill her, blah, blah, blah. She did the whole time, obviously. And, you know, Nick having mental problems. The cops kind of manipulated the truth out of him, which, I mean, smart tactic, but damn. But he was like, she asked me to. So, he's still locked up. She's causing a ruckus out in the wild.
Out in the what?
Out in the wild. But she was released from jail December 28th, 2023. After only serving 85% of her sentence. The case gained massive attention through documentaries like Mommy Dead and Dearest, and dramatized Hulu series The Act. So, she, ever since she's gotten out, she's done many interviews, she's posting on TikTok like she's a normal person, she's doing collabs.
Did she just have a baby?
She just had a baby, I don't know if she's married to this other one, but she
was married and then she got divorced.
And I don't know if she remarried the next guy, but
I think they were planning on it. I think she was, like, they were engaged, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, gonna give you guys a full insight. This is gonna be a lot of reading, everybody. Just so I can give everybody an insight of this. Yeah, sit back and relax. So, Gypsy Rose Blanchard grew up with her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, making claims about her health that resulted in a series of dire diagnoses and medical interventions. However, Gypsy Rose wasn't actually unwell. Her mother had been lying about her symptoms. Experts believe Dee Dee's behavior stemmed from the mental disorder Munchausen by proxy. Because Dee Dee wanted to be a caretaker, she feigned, I'm assuming, possibly, and induced illnesses in her daughter. The truth about Gypsy Rose and her mother only came out after Gypsy Rose arranged for an online boyfriend to murder Dee Dee in 2015. I gotta sneeze. Hold on. Shoot! Shoot! Anyway. Gypsy Rose, who was born in July 1991, was a baby when Dee Dee claimed her daughter had sleep apnea. When Gypsy Rose was 8 years old, Dee Dee described her as suffering from leukemia and muscular dystrophy, and said she required a wheelchair and feeding tube. The list of medical problems that Dee Dee said her daughter had eventually included seizures, asthma, and hearing and visual impairments, which is why she put on the big glasses on her. Due to Dee Dee's actions, Gypsy Rose was prescribed a litany of medications and had to sleep using a breathing machine. She also went through multiple surgeries, including procedures on her eyes and removal of her salivary glands. When Gypsy Rose's teeth rotted, perhaps due to her medications, missing salivary glands, or neglect, they were pulled out. Yet, the truth was that Gypsy Rose could walk, didn't need a feeding tube, and didn't have cancer. Her head was bald only because her mother shaved off her hair. Experts believe Dee Dee had a mental illness known as Munchausen by proxy, which made her fabricate her daughter's ill health in order to receive attention and sympathy for taking care of a sick child. Medical tests often showed inconclusive or contradictory results regarding Gypsy Rose's diagnoses. But Dee Dee would stop seeing any doctors who questioned her daughter's ailments, and many caregivers went along with what Dee Dee wanted. She had some nurses training, so she could accurately describe symptoms, and she sometimes gave Gypsy Rose medication to mimic certain conditions. But pause there. They had a social worker come to their house one time, and she gave Gypsy, 2 pills of something that, makes her groggy and slow and just sleepy. She even had the bottle labeled Sleepy Baby. So she can really talk. Moving right along. Where did I stop at? Okay. Dee Dee was also charming and seemed devoted to her daughter. When Gypsy Rose was old enough to talk, Dee Dee instructed her not to volunteer information during their appointments. She was always the one relating Gypsy Rose's fake medical history. Dee Dee told Gypsy Rose's father, Rod Blanchard, that their daughter had a chromosomal disorder? Anyway, that had led to her many health issues. He complimented Dee Dee for her devoted care. When some of Dee Dee's family noticed that Gypsy Rose didn't seem to need a wheelchair and asked questions, Dee Dee and Gypsy Rose moved away. Dee Dee claimed to be a victim of Hurricane Katrina, so she and Gypsy Rose received assistance to relocate from Louisiana to Missouri in 2005. There, Dee Dee continued to bring Gypsy Rose to doctor's appointments. Hurricane Katrina also provided an excuse for missing medical files. We're almost done, guys. In 2008, Gypsy Rose and Dee Dee moved into their new home in Springfield, Missouri, built by Habitat for Humanity. It was painted pink and had a wheelchair ramp. The mother and daughter also received benefits that included charity-sponsored visits to concerts and Disney World. All along, Disney? I was reading Disney, and I meant to say Dee Dee. All along, Dee Dee continued to bask in the attention she received for being a devoted caregiver. When Gypsy Rose was 14, she saw a neurologist in Missouri who came to believe she was a victim of Munchausen by proxy. However, this doctor never reported her case to authorities. In later interviews, he stated his belief that there wasn't enough evidence to act. In 2009, an anonymous report was made to authorities stating that Dee Dee's accounts of Gypsy Rose's ailments had no medical basis. This resulted in 2 caseworkers visiting their home, but Dee Dee convinced them that there was nothing wrong. As Gypsy Rose grew older, Dee Dee began to lie about her age, going so far as to alter the dates on Gypsy Rose's birth certificate to make her daughter seem younger. But Gypsy Rose was still becoming harder for Dee Dee to control. Fast forward. 2011, Gypsy Rose tried to get away from her mother by running away with a man she'd met at a science fiction convention. But Dee Dee soon tracked them down via can't wait to make a word fumble TikTok out of this episode. Mutual friends. She convinced the man that Gypsy Rose was a minor, though she was actually 19 at the time. According to Gypsy Rose, Dee Dee smashed her computer and physically restrained her to her bed after they returned home, which Dee Dee would do a lot. Like, she would literally tie her to the bed. Gypsy Rose had also stated her mother would sometimes hit her and deny her food. Gypsy Rose eventually managed to get back online. She joined a Christian dating site where she met Nicholas Godejohn. She told him the truth about her mother's actions and ended up asking him to kill Dee Dee so they could be together. In June 2015, he came to her house and stabbed Dee Dee while Gypsy Rose waited, ears covered, and in the bathroom. Gypsy Rose and Godejohn returned to his home in Wisconsin.
Jesus Christ.
These all returned to Wisconsin, I swear. Where they were found by police. Gypsy had twice posted to the Facebook account that she shared with her mother, once writing that bitch is dead. She later explained that she made the post because she wanted her mother's body to be discovered. Yeah, something's wrong up there.
Just a little bit.
After Dee Dee's murder, many people who'd known Gypsy Rose wondered why she'd gone so far as to kill her. Since she could walk, she simply could have exposed Dee Dee's lies by standing up in public. Yet Gypsy Rose had been conditioned to think no one would believe her. She explained, and I quote, "I couldn't just jump out of the wheelchair because I was afraid, and I didn't know what my mother would do. I didn't have anyone to trust." The fact was that Gypsy Rose had spent her entire life being controlled and monitored by her mother. She wasn't allowed to go to school. Although Gypsy Rose was of normal intelligence, Dee Dee told everyone her daughter had the mental age of 7. When they were out in public, Dee Dee constantly held Gypsy's hand, squeezing it when she wanted her daughter to be quiet, which you can see in multiple interviews. So, let's see. Skip over those. 2016, she pled guilty to second-degree murder. She was sentenced to 10 years in prison, served 85% of her sentence before being released December 2023. Godejohn was found guilty of first-degree murder in 2018 and was sentenced to life in prison. Gypsy Rose said she enjoyed more freedom in prison than in the life she shared with Dee Dee. However, when asked by Dr. Phil if she was glad her mother was dead, she stated, "I'm glad I'm out of that situation, but I'm not happy she's dead." Now, she's very weird to me when she brings up, when I read that quote, because she and Natalie Reynolds made a TikTok, like, we listen and we don't judge trend, and she just ever so nonchalantly mentioned about her offing her mother. I don't know if you've seen that video. It's a very, very interesting video. Gypsy Rose and Natalie Reynolds.
And we listen and we don't judge.
Insert.
One time I dared a homeless woman $20 to jump into a lake, and then she said she couldn't swim, and I ran away laughing. We listen and we don't judge.
I went to prison for 8.5 years because I my own mom.
Oh my god.
Hey, we listen and we don't judge.
This is their...
What?
Yeah.
They nonchalant act like what they both did was...
Yeah.
People start canceling them.
You know, a lot of people canceled her when she first got released from prison. And then they just kind of cooled down. I'm like, no, we need to still cancel her, please.
And Natalie Reynolds.
And Natalie Reynolds. I can't stand Natalie Reynolds.
I've done some research on her. I don't like her. Mm-hmm. I'm sure she kind of sleeps around. Wouldn't be surprised.
Alright, so that is all we have for you guys today. Hopefully you learned about some true crime. If you didn't even know about the Menendez or Gypsy Rose case, or Ed Gein and Jeffrey Dahmer.
I feel bad. I didn't know too much about Ed Gein. I tried to do some research, but Jeffrey Dahmer.
I say you did pretty good.
Jeffrey Dahmer. I already did my research a long time ago on that.
Yeah.
Don't know why. I have problems.
It's a very interesting thing.
Yeah, but so was Ed
learn about.
Gein's, but
They're almost
Yeah.
similar in a way.
yeah.
From like just, you know,
But
the body portion, what the
Ed Gein was
part of it.
schizophrenic. Jeffrey Dahmer was sane. So, I mean,
I don't think you can say a sane person does what Jeffrey Dahmer did.
okay, well,
He was insane in the membrane.
he knew what he was doing, though, was wrong.
He don't care.
No. He
He
just
don't
had
care.
needs.
See. But don't really have much of an outro, but hope you guys learned something today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed listening and watching if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening on Spotify. So we will just catch you guys in the next episode. I also want to apologize that this is a very late episode. We both got busy over the weekend and I also am getting over being sick. So I'm very, very sorry. But we will see you guys in the next episode.
Hashtag trauma.
Hashtag drama. Okay, bye!